Hello everyone, this is Pooka and welcome to another game I played on the Pokemon Trading Card Game Online from Bad Deck Monday. Now, this time around I'm going to be facing a player who I've already played against a few times in some videos. For some reason I seem to get paired against him quite often. This is dmaster34. He's going to be playing the same old Darkrai deck that he's been using in all the other videos. And I'm going to be using my Quadza deck, which is 4 Rayquaza EX and nothing else. But as we can see here, I start with a pretty bad hand in terms of, well, any deck. But we're going to go for the Celestial Roar, and oh no, I discard a Juniper, a Pokedex, and a Skyla. 3 non-energy cards. So if you don't know what Celestial Roar does, you discard the top 3 cards of your deck. If any of them are energy cards, you attach them to Rayquaza EX. And for reference, I play about 30 energy in this deck. And I took a big swing and a miss there. Wow. The first turn is very important for the Quadza deck because it really needs to generate steam early on, get those extra energy in play as quickly as possible. And when you can't do that, you really don't have any way to come back. You really rely on your first couple turns to put on pressure on your opponent. And if you don't get that, well, then you are just a silly deck with 4 Rayquaza and 30 energy. And you're not really going to beat anything. So that is a devastating start. Also, he plays the Hypnotoxic Laser, hits heads, puts me to sleep. So things are looking just dreadful. He's got the Sableye up there. He used a computer search. Has a Darkrai as well. He will be able to use Junk Hunt to get back 2 of those items. And I am left wondering, what can I possibly do here to come back from this? Now, I do top deck a Juniper, so that is pretty useful. I'm going to go ahead and catch up his Darkrai to make it very difficult for him to pull off a Night Spear, but I stayed asleep. That means I won't be able to do anything. I'm not going to be able to attack. I don't really play switching cards in this deck, because why not? I always want Rayquaza active. So I will just Juniper away, and I draw a better hand. I get a Skyla, a Pokedex, and that Gold Potion is going to be a lot of help in this matchup. I do play the Gold Potion as my ace spec just because, well, why not? And if you look at my top 5 here, I'm glad I used that Pokedex because I have 3 catchers in there, which I'm going to put to the bottom, and then an Ether and an Energy. So that gives me information to say, okay, next turn I'm going to play my Skyla to reshuffle those top 5 because there are 3 catchers in there. And that is not good. But we'll see. You know, this actually isn't as bad of a matchup as you would think against Darkrai. The lasers plus Burbank, honestly, is what makes it so unbearable. You know, and you can see I'm still asleep, actually. But, you know, now that Dark Claw is a staple in these decks, it's a weird thing. Like, sure, it's good they don't have Eviolite, but now with Laser and Dark Claw, it's very easy for them to knock out EX is with 170 hit points, which that's Rayquaza. So with the 30 damage from Laser and Verbank, the extra 30 from Dark Claw, or the extra 20 from Dark Claw, it can get pretty ugly pretty quickly. But, you know, if you can knock out a Darkrai in one hit and then they don't have any energy left in play, you can actually be okay in this matchup. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for, but again, I'm still asleep. I whiffed completely on my first roar, so this is about as bad as it could be for me. The only thing going for me is that he did not get a Night Spear off on turn 2, but I stayed asleep again. So that's 2 turns in a row I just stayed asleep. And now what do I do from here? I'm going to power up my benched Rayquaza, because I might as well just do that. We're going to Skyla. And I think I'm going to grab a Pokedex, either that or a Juniper. Either one can work here. Pokedex would allow me to rearrange my top 5. If there's an Ether in there or something like that, I could take that. Juniper will obviously give me a fresh hand. So it's an interesting choice. But I decided to go for the Juniper just to give myself more options. And I'm going to pass, and hey, we woke up. It's a miracle. But now, it's going to be a struggle for me to win this game, I think. But again, at least I have the ability to knock out Darkrai's in one hit. That is the one redeeming factor I have. If he ever pulls off lasers and Verbanks, though, excuse me, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble. So here is a Dark Patch, which means I'm probably going to get Night Spirit this turn. But we'll see. I mean, he's gone through a couple lasers already, a couple catchers, and some Dark Patches. So he has gone through a lot of resources early on. And that is exactly what I need in this matchup to have a shot. He's going to play his Computer Search again. So I'm expecting, you know, some laser, Verbank nonsense this turn, Dark Claw maybe. And I'm expecting to take a huge hit this turn from a Night Spear. But I do have that Gold Potion, so that's going to help me out a lot. So there is the Verbank. Looks like Darkrai is going to come up this turn. I don't know if he's played a supporter yet. I don't think so. But, yeah, this is a weird position. He's going to play a Skyla now. Let's see what he grabs. Looks like the Dark Claw. It's exactly what I expected this turn. And now he could just Night Spear the active and knock it out. And with Night Spear, with the combination of Dark Claw and the poison damage, and he's going to put a Dark on that other Darkrai as well. And he's actually going to catch her up my other Rayquaza, which I actually do like better. He's going to damage this thing heavily. 110 from the Night Spear, 30 from the Verbank, and then hit my bench Rayquaza for 30. You basically, against Quadza, you want to target down the energy, and that's exactly what he's doing. But I do have that Gold Potion, which is actually a savior right now. So I'm going to attach and then Juniper away, and hopefully get some good stuff. And wow, my top 7 was all non-energy cards. How weird is that? And we're going to Dragon Burst. Just got to make sure I discard all my Lightning. I have to... One of the ways you can screw up online is to discard the wrong type of energy. I've done that before. I don't want that to happen again. So, yeah, I want to discard my Lightnings this turn, not my Fire. That would do 60, and then I would lose immediately. So we're going to Dragon Burst for 180, and who knows, maybe we'll have a shot this game. I'm going to take 30 more from the Poison from Verbank. That is annoying, but I do get a Pokedex out of my prizes, so I could Skyla for an Ether, and just maybe we can start to come back into this. You know, I do have a lot of damage on my board. I've used my Gold Potion already. Maybe I should really add some full heals or max potions into this deck. Because if my Rayquazas could survive, this might actually be a legitimate force of a deck here. So if my opponent could pull off a Night Spear this turn, I'm probably in a ton of trouble. It would knock out my active Rayquaza, put some damage on another one, and I just don't have enough energy in play right now to get anything going. But if he doesn't, then I could actually take a turn to Celestial Roar, get some more energy in play, and then set up to knock out the next Darkrai, which is big. You know, if he just goes Night Spear and then I Dragon Burst for 180 every time, then I can win. And he actually has to Junk Hunt that turn, so I have a good opportunity here to make some sort of a stand and get a bunch of energy in play. Now, it's obviously reliant on my top cards. That is a big deal here. So I have to decide, do I want to Pokedex first or Skyla first? If I Pokedex first, that gives me the opportunity to reshuffle my deck in case of a bad top 5. But at this point, I've actually gone through a ton of non-energy cards. So most of my deck actually should be energy. And we can see he's gone through 3 lasers so far. That is my biggest worry in this matchup. The Hypnotoxic lasers. And yeah, look at that. Look, my deck is just like half energy at this point. Probably more than half. So we're going to use that Skyla to take an Ether out. Pokedex. And yikes. Again, this is kind of an ugly top 5 cards. So, what I'm going to do is put Skyla... I should put Skyla as card number 4. I think that's how it goes. Yeah, I want to discard the 2 energy and an Ether and then draw my Skyla next turn, I think. Either that or I could discard the Skyla and then I don't know, that's just weird. Like, no matter what I do, I'm going to be in a bad spot. So I decided to use the Ether there. I don't really know what is the right thing to do there. But I'm actually going to catcher up his Darkrai. And then actually just Dragon Burst it for 60, knowing that I have Ethers coming next turn. Okay. Sorry, that's really confusing, but I hit the Darkrai for 60. I don't want to discard my Ethers. I catcher up Darkrai. Because next turn I know I'm going to draw a Skyla. And I also know I'm going to draw 2 Ethers. So I figure one of those Ethers is going to hit something, considering my deck is loaded with energy. So I just decided to take the proactive approach here. Hit the Darkrai for 60. Now all I need to do is discard 2 energy for a knockout. And hope for the best. And I'm not sure if that was the right play, but my other option was to retreat and Celestial Roar. So I feel like being aggressive here was the better option. And here he's going to catcher, bring up the Rayquaza with no damage on it. And it looks like he's going to Night Spear, and then he can just finish off the benched one for 30 with Night Spear. That poison damage adds up a lot. That is so annoying. And this is the reason why this is such a difficult matchup nowadays. I actually don't think this would be a terrible matchup without the 30 from poison. Even if it had only done 10 or 20 with poison, this would still be a decent matchup. But 30 from poison every time, give me a break. Alright, so I'm going to Ether, knowing that my next card is a Lightning. We're going to throw down my 4th Rayquaza and then Juniper for 7, and then of course I get another Ether. I knew I had that coming. And you know, my deck is so loaded with energy, I should probably just play an Ether here and go for it. But I decided to hold on to it, I guess. Not sure why I did that. I guess probably just to, just so I don't have to overcommit to a certain Pokemon. And now look at this. He now is back down to 0 energy on his Darkrai's. Ton of Dark Patches used. And I think we're actually in a good position to win. Because what I can do next turn is just retreat, Celestial Roar, get a bunch of energy on a Rayquaza. If I can power up 2 Rayquazas, he can actually never really win the game. Because if he attacks with Darkrai, he loses. You know, I just Dragon Burst and I win. So that is the state of the game right now. We're going to take a look at his discard pile. You can see a couple Dark Claws are in there. We have 3 Dark Patches. Wow. 3 lasers as well. Couple catchers. He is just running out of resources. He only got 9 cards left. He won't be able to power up Darkrai this turn. You know, lasers could make things difficult, but I actually feel like I'm in a very good position to win this game. He's also out. He's also used a couple Dark Claws, which are big. You know, even knocking out Sableye this turn is big, and taking away his option to Dark Patch to that Darkrai. He is just overall out of options. And, you know, I have a catcher left. I have tons of energy left, obviously. I think I have at least 1 Ether left, probably 2. So that's a potential 2 energy into play. Actually, I have 1 Ether left. That's a potential extra energy attachment for the turn. And just like this, Quadza looks like it can win this game somehow against what I think is the best deck in the format, just Darkrai Lasers. And, you know, this was a pretty clean game. I actually would say I got a really bad start. I roared for 0 on the first turn. I stayed asleep for 2 turns. I mean, what else could my opponent ask for? But here we are. This is looking good. All I have to do is knock out 1 more Darkrai, and I win the game. But it looks like my opponent may have timed out here. May have, and yeah, it looks like his game must have frozen, which is a bad part about Pokemon TCG Online. But we're going to chalk that one up as a win for Quadza. I think I would have ended up winning that game. Kind of an unsatisfying ending, but that's just this program sometimes. I hope it gets fixed sometime soon. But thanks for watching, guys. I'm Pooka here from the Top Cut. See you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed.